it's Emily Williams, the founder of I Heart My Life and your host of the I Heart My Life show. This is episode 117, How RTT Therapy Will Change Your Life with Emily Summersett. So today's episode is super powerful. We're talking to the incredible Emily Summersett, who's my personal friend, an incredible therapist and life coach. She's somebody who practices RTT therapy. It helps you transform from the inside out. It literally reprograms your subconscious so that you start to create new ways of believing and thinking about your success and the results that you want. Emily talks about the fact that 95% of our brain is all about the subconscious. The 5% is the part that's about the conscious and intellectual stuff that's coming up for us on a daily basis. So you can see based on those numbers why it's often super difficult to transform. In fact, the odds are stacked against us. But through Emily's methodology and the work that she does in the world, she helps her clients, like I said, transform from the inside out. So they create more success, have more health, have more joy. And all of this started through her own experience with her husband going into a deep depression, wanting to commit suicide, experiencing anxiety. And through that experience, they both learned what really creates joy and happiness and life satisfaction. So let's go ahead and dive in. I know you're going to love this conversation. It's going to open your eyes to what's really going on within and how to actually transform your own subconscious programming. So let's go for it. This episode is sponsored by the I Heart My Life signature course. This course is a long time in the making. It's based on my incredible book called I Heart My Life. It's literally some of those chapters broken down into a self-study course that provides you with everything you need to uncover what your purpose is and move full speed ahead towards taking action and making your big dreams a reality. We cover mindset, money mindset, goal setting, success tips, how to develop your own support system, everything you need to go from A to Z in terms of creating a life that you love. So if you go to iheartmylifecourse.com, you'll learn more and you'll be able to sign up right away today and be able to start moving forward towards that big vision, that thing that you know you're meant for. And remember, you are worth it. You deserve to live a life that you love. So go ahead and check it out now. Welcome to the show, Emily. I'm so excited to have this time with you.
I'm always excited to have time with you, Emily.
So we met, how many years ago now? Was it 5 years ago? That sounds about right. Back in, or maybe even more than that, 2014, we were both in a program together.
I know. Yeah, it's been a long time.
That's crazy. So when I remember meeting you in Australia, we were there for this event that we were part of. And I remember just how kind you were, and you were always so sweet and supportive of my goals. And I know that that's not what we're talking about here today, but I just want to put that out there. Like, you have one of the most beautiful spirits. And I know that the work that you do with your clients, which we'll talk more about later on this conversation, is super deep, super powerful. And you just have, like I said, you have a way about you that helps transform people from the inside out. And so I know today's conversation is going to be really beautiful and a reflection of just how amazing your energy is and how powerful it is and how needed you are in the world.
Thank you, Emily. Yeah, the feeling is so mutual. I feel like we always attract people who are just this beautiful reflection of ourselves. So I'm so happy I get to have you in my life.
Me too. So let's start with your story. I always like to ask people, what is the story behind the success? So tell us more about how you started your own business and entered down that path towards coaching.
Yeah. So my business kind of, we gave birth to the business, my husband and I, our first business, which was a yoga mat company, but it was kind of born out of a little bit of a challenging moment in our life. Around 2006, my husband was in a very stressful sales job and basically had a nervous breakdown. He became very suicidal, and it totally shook our world up. And out of, kind of desperation and love for my husband, I had to figure out, all right, what in the world is going on with his brain? We have this beautiful home. We have this beautiful life we've created. We love each other deeply. Why is he getting really anxious and depressed? And why is he wanting to take his life? And so the first book that I found was A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. And this book kind of came to me, it was a very miraculous moment where it's like, oh my God, he explained so perfectly, Eckhart Tolle explained so perfectly how the mind works, and it helped me better understand the duality of the mind. And it made me understand what was going on with Scott's mind. And, from there I learned, a lot of how we experience reality is based on these really emotionally heightened experiences we have as children, and they are embedded in our subconscious mind, and they can impact the way we experience life without us even knowing. And so my husband and I, we were in 9-to-5 jobs, and we realized that was not the path, similar to you and James, but that was not the path that we wanted to follow. And we realized we wanted to start our own business. And we, over pillow talk one night, we were asking each other, like, what are we really good at? And we realized that we were really good at just love and taking care of each other, taking care of our friends, our family. People always felt safe and, happy in our presence. So I was like, why can't we become professional lovers? And so like, why can't that be a job title? And this was many, many, many years ago that we, had this realization. But then we asked the deeper question, why not? Why can't we be professional lovers and create a business that we could use as a platform to promote love, which we believe is our most precious asset. And from there, our very first business, our yoga mat company, was born, Love Mat. And that quickly showed me that while I love spreading a message of love, and I felt like that was a part of my life's purpose, I felt a deeper calling to support people as a coach. So when I started the company, I had all these different people, especially in the yoga industry, healers, come to me and say, Emily, I love what you did with Love Mat. Can you help me start my own business? And so I had about 15 years in marketing, business development. I also went through B school like you, and I really wanted to help people. I kind of felt like I kept having all these people come to me asking me to help them start a business. And so I took that as a sign as, all right, I get it, universe. This is how I can serve and support people. And so from there, I started teaching people how to start businesses, kind of all aspects of it, drawing on my marketing, branding background. And what I quickly realized, and I know that you have realized this as well, Emily, is that it really is about your mindset. It's about the belief system that you have kind of buried in the subconscious that dictates whether or not you are okay with being visible. If you're okay with really, letting your message be heard, your relationship to money, there are just so many different things that go into starting and maintaining a successful business that, a lot of the women and men I was working with and having gone through it myself, I just realized that was more important. So I quickly started shifting my work towards life coaching. And because of the incident with Scott, from that moment that Scott wanted to take his life, I began kind of my journey into better understanding human consciousness.
Yeah, let me just pause here for a second. That's such a beautiful story. And I'm curious to know, once you uncovered some of this work for yourself and also for Scott, how did you help him move through all of his feelings and what he was experiencing?
Yeah, so at the time, we'd both gone through yoga teacher trainings because we realized we wanted to, yoga had really transformed our lives. And we wanted to share that with others, hence the yoga mat company. But with him, I had read Eckhart Tolle, and that kind of gave me a lot of information. And I could apply what I was reading in the book to my own experience of life and how my own brain was operating. So when I first tried to explain this to him, naturally, he kind of rejected it a little bit. But then I was like, I love you. Read this book. I know it'll change your life completely. It'll help you understand what is going on behind the scenes. It's what your brain is doing. And so fortunately he picked it up. And some of the first kind of work that he did, and obviously we both did, was more yoga related. So he would begin to notice what triggers were in his exterior environment that were kind of creating the anxiety, the depression. And so he would just get into a downward facing dog and just start breathing, getting the breath work going. And that would kind of get him back into the present moment and pull himself away from, whatever that thought was that triggered the anxiety, the depression in his body. And so that was
beautiful. And the reason I ask is because I think a lot of people, obviously we work with women at I Heart My Life. Mm-hmm. They have spouses who are going through challenging moments and aren't necessarily doing the inner work that they're doing through our programs. And so I was just curious to know how you started to approach your husband and share this information with him in a way that felt supportive, but maybe not pushy, and whether he was able to take that on board.
Yeah. So with anyone, obviously they need to be ready for that change. And so as wives, or partners, the best thing we can do is say, you know what, I love you. And I know that you're going through a difficult moment, but just know that I'm here for you and I love you. Here are some resources that have helped me. Here are some tools. And then you just step away. And then you leave it up to them when they are ready to go ahead and start applying what they're learning. And yeah, it's just, Emily, just from working in the coaching industry, when the clients come to us, they're ready for a change. They're ready to transform their lives, but you can't push that on them. As excited as you are about what you're learning, people really need to be ready for that change. So just be that loving, supportive, energy and light in your husband, partner's life. And let them come around. It's their lives. It's not
so like you said, regardless of whether it's a husband or a spouse or a client, that person has to be ready, and we can't want it more than them, as challenging as it is.
Absolutely. And so again, just be that love. Let them know that you're available, to support them when they need you. But other than that, it's in their hands. And you have to live your own life. Your life is almost more important than theirs, because, if your cup's not full, then you're not going to be able to give to your partner, your husband, your clients, everyone in your life that you care about and love.
And so when we went through that program together back in 2014, 2015, your journey was more around creating a business to help people with marketing, branding, building their business. And I know, like you just said, you realized, it's actually the inner work. It's the mindset work. That's the thing that people need. Do you feel like there's often a pressure or a tendency to go down the business building route because people think, oh, that's what's going to bring the money, or that's what people are asking about? And I guess my deeper question is, what did it take for you to give yourself permission to move more into the mindset space?
So yeah, I had those, similar doubts, like, okay, I know that people, they really understand and get that if I help them build a business and I can help them make money, then that's very valuable. And so I think you just have to give yourself permission that, the most important thing that we can achieve as human beings, not just as entrepreneurs or business owners, is self-realization, is really understanding how our mind operates and how it creates our reality. And we can either use it as a tool, which it is a tool, or it can use us. And so there are plenty of people out there, if you've considered going into, life coaching or therapy or, any type of mindset work, there are people out there right now who will pay really well to have you, have you help them resolve whatever problem, whether it's, weight issues, whether it is anxiety, depression, whether it is, blocks around money and achieving wealth. There are just so many just the human condition. It's endless, the number of issues that can come up, just through the human experience. And so there are people who will pay very well for this work. So if there's any woman or man out there right now who's listening, just know if you are feeling called to support people in this way, there is a need. It's just, continue to work with Emily, and she'll help you articulate the message, identify that problem, and, demonstrate how you are the solution to that problem. So it really comes down to communication and marketing, and being very clear on who you can help and how you can help them.
I love that. And so I know that your journey has taken a few twists and turns from the business building into life coaching. And now can you talk to people a little bit about the work that you're doing through the RTT therapy method?
Yeah. So RTT stands for Rapid Transformational Therapy. And I've actually been trained personally by Marissa Peer. She's the founder of it. And she's originally from the UK. She spends part of her time in the UK and also in LA and various parts of the world. But it's an amazing therapy because it allows us to access the subconscious mind, where all of these beliefs, behaviors, they're all under the surface. And so basically what RTT does is we use, so it's a combination, it's kind of a super therapy, and it's a combination of hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming, and cognitive behavioral therapy. And so we can use the, hypnotherapy and hypnosis to gain access to the subconscious mind. So here, let me back up a little bit. So when we are young, we are normally kind of operating in this really low level theta brainwave state. So we have these different brainwave states. When we're, very active, we're in beta. That's when we're out there, running our business, doing all the tasks required to make things happen. Alpha, we're a little bit more relaxed, kind of sitting back, reading a book, watching a movie, a little more receptive. And then theta is a natural state that we go through when we first wake up in the morning and when we first, fall asleep in the evening. So as children, we're operating in this mode, so we're very receptive to suggestions. And so, when our parents tell us something, we just soak it up. When, that's why they always say that the best time to teach your, children something is kind of between the time they're born until they're about 7. Because when we turn 7-ish, our little subconscious mind gets sealed up by our analytical mind, and it makes it more difficult to put suggestions in there. So being in a theta state allows us to put new suggestions in, and that's what hypnosis does. So when you go through an RTT session, we put you into hypnosis so we can kind of slow those brain waves down, and we can gain access to the subconscious mind, where all of these beliefs that may be keeping you from achieving the level of income that you want, whatever subconscious beliefs are in there that make you feel you're not worthy, everything that we've been taught as a child gets dropped in there and closed in and is being, it's just under the surface, and we have no idea that it's ruling our lives.
I love that. And I think that it's so interesting to think back on that period of time before age 7. And, I know that you've said that that's one of the reasons why children can learn the languages, and we pick up on things so quickly, and we're so receptive to all this information. And that doesn't always mean that it's positive things. Sometimes it's things that come back later on in life, and we don't know, why we're operating a certain way. Or obviously I do a lot of work around money mindset, and we don't realize that what we've been taught as children is affecting us now financially. And so your work is just so powerful because it's going within, and I'm really attracted to it as well because it has that word rapid in it, because I think so often people think, I'm going to go through years of therapy and it's going to take a long time for me to get results. So can you talk a little bit about why the work does happen so quickly, but also I know it requires persistence. It requires
Right.
certain key action steps on a regular basis.
Yeah. So the beauty of rapid transformational therapy is that you can, resolve an issue in 1 to 3 sessions, which is unlike traditional talk therapy. And the reason why it works so quickly is, again, we use hypnosis to get into the subconscious mind, and we use regression to go back and find out exactly what beliefs are in there that are holding you back from achieving whatever goal, achieving any result that you want. And so when you're in hypnosis and we go back to regression, your subconscious mind, it really catalogs everything. You may, intellectually understand, oh, well, I'm not able to do X because of this past experience in my life, but you don't know for sure if it's that, because again, you've had this infinite number of experiences up until this moment. And, it's not until you're able to gain full access to the subconscious that you're able to pinpoint, what moment that was. And it's so interesting because I've regressed clients back, and they've actually gone back to the moment they were conceived, and even before conception. Our cells have minds and brains of their own. And, this is probably getting more in the spiritual realm, but we are all just energy, and energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And so, we're these energetic bodies that keep moving from container to container. At least this is kind of how I'm beginning to see it. And so, it's so fascinating that we move, we're just energetic bodies.
Well, I think this is so important because let me back up here. So at I Heart My Life, we started off as a life coaching company. Then just like what happened with you, people started asking me how we built the business, and that morphed into working with entrepreneurs. And now what we've kind of done is come full circle. And yes, we work with driven business owners, but we talk about the fact that we work in a holistic way. And so, as you know, we have a variety of different coaches who speak to different areas of expertise, and we help people literally transform their life. And I think this is so important to be talking about today, because a lot of people think, oh, it's just another strategy or it's just another action step. And they don't realize that, like you said, there are these moments in their history that have affected them that are now impacting them in the present moment. And whether that's the belief system, whether it's a harmful memory or something that's keeping them stuck, it's not just about the action step and the strategy, because if you're operating with these faulty beliefs or these faulty thought processes, that's impacting the action that you're taking.
Yeah, absolutely. Or the action you're not taking.
Exactly. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about the process in particular? I've been through it myself, but I want people to understand, like, how in the world would you even get somebody to regress back to preconception?
Again, the subconscious, it catalogs everything. And, I really didn't realize this fully until I started regressing people. And I know Marissa and other therapists that are practicing this form of therapy, have done the same thing. And it's just so, so fascinating. So, the way that a session works is, we induce you into hypnosis. So we get you into that really relaxed, suggestible mode. And
I just want to pause there for really, really quick. So people, when I think of hypnosis, I think about being at like a magic show and seeing somebody on stage and they seem like they have no awareness of what's going on. Can you tell people what hypnosis actually is?
Yeah. Hypnosis, it's just a science. It's a way to get your brain waves to slow down so that you are more receptive. When you're in a flow state, that's very similar to being in hypnosis. So if you're out on a run or you're on the elliptical and you get very relaxed and you're very present in the moment, oftentimes you'll get a lot of amazing divine downloads. Well, the divine downloads are just thoughts that are coming up through your subconscious. And so when you get into hypnosis, as a RTT practitioner, you want to be in that very relaxed state so that we can go into, the library that is your subconscious mind and find out what memories are in there. And the most potent memories are the ones that have the highest emotional charge to them. Something that happened when we were a child where this is called an imprint. An imprint was made because we did something and our parents reacted usually negatively. And then it just left this impression on us. And so it gets trapped in there. And a lot of times as adults, and I've had clients that have been challenged with this as well, is that they may block certain parts of, their past out because obviously it was very painful. And so hypnosis is nothing but just getting the mind to slow down and relax so we can get access to those subconscious beliefs, those memories, and also to reprogram the subconscious. So, jumping ahead, a part of the session, and this, Emily, is that we create a bespoke, transformational recording that allows us to put new positive beliefs and suggestions into the subconscious. And, we learn through repetition. Like I was mentioning before, as children, we're in that low level of theta. We're just soaking everything up. The analytical mind closes up. And then as adults, it makes it very difficult for new ideas to penetrate that analytical mind. And so as adults, we really just have to rely on repetition to put new beliefs, install new habits, new thought processes into the subconscious.
And so during a session, once somebody is in hypnosis, then what happens?
So, once you're in hypnosis, I'll give you a few suggestions to make sure that you're fully, that your subconscious mind is this open cup. You're fully suggestible. And then from that point, we regress you. And we'll go back to at least 3 scenes, if not more scenes, in your past that have all to do with your issue. And then from there, we'll use some interrupters to start breaking up these beliefs and these thought patterns so that you can start creating new thought patterns. And then what we'll do is reframe, and then we'll go ahead and create the transformation.
Yeah, it's such an interesting process. And I know for me, I think my first memory that we regressed to was something in my 20s. And then another one was when I was about 12. And another one was around maybe 7, another one 5, and then one when I was 2. And I'm not actually sure if I was remembering that one. It was me drowning in a pool, or if it was just a memory of my parents telling me that happened. Right. And so does it matter if people regress to something where, they're not really sure if they're actually remembering or if it's from a story they've been told?
Well, if you've lived through the experience, your body and mind, they remember, they've cataloged that experience. And so obviously your parents or someone else can tell you their experience of what happened. But ultimately, your body knows, your subconscious knows. So it's in there, it's in your cells. So 5% of our brain is our conscious, our analytical brain. And then the other 95% is our subconscious, which is essentially our body. And so when we have an experience or we think a thought, literally that thought creates a chemical response in our body. And that response, it travels down in the form of chemicals, like, if it's a stressful situation, it'll be, adrenaline or cortisol, and it goes down our central nervous system and it's distributed throughout our body. So that's why you can either visually see something that is frightening or exciting, or think a thought that's frightening or exciting, and you can feel the immediate response in your body. It's because our brains are literally creating these neurochemicals that are, shot directly down in our body, and it's like instant. We feel it.
Wow. I had no idea that it was 95% was the subconscious.
Yeah. That's why it is so difficult to change, because we're trying to use 5% of our brain. Like, we'll intellectually understand that, oh yeah, well, I need to stop shoving my face full of donuts to lose weight. We can understand that, but then to actually do it, we're running up against the 95%. So the goal is, all right, let's get into the subconscious. Let's figure out what happened, what beliefs we have that are keeping us from taking the action to stop eating the donuts. And so, wow. Again, we can only do that by getting into that theta, the low-level brain waves. And then that's how we put new suggestions in. And it needs to be through repetition. So the transformation, the bespoke recording we provide, as you know, Emily, is 21 days long. Science says that roughly 21 days, I've heard 30, but we need repetition of putting these new beliefs in. And that can be really challenging, for people because the brain loves what's familiar. So, one of the things we have to do if we want to change is we have to make the unfamiliar familiar and the familiar unfamiliar. So any kind of habit you're trying to change, that applies.
And so what sort of, I don't want to use the word issues because that's not a very kind word, but what sort of things are people coming to you with? What sort of struggles? I know for me, mine was around body image and anxiety. So what else do people come to you for?
Yeah. I would say anxiety, is the number one, really. But then again, like weight issues, depression, insomnia, guilt and shame. There are moments in our childhood where we were meant to feel guilty or shameful, and that gets trapped in the subconscious, and we act from that space. Just thinking about, being a business owner and an entrepreneur, the different things that affect us. A lot of people come to me for speaking. They have a fear around speaking. I guess, all sorts of different physical and emotional issues. If there's someone who's trying to cut back on alcohol consumption or stop completely,
So basically anything that's stopping them from living their best life and being filled with joy, creating success.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing.
And again, with we're using that 5%, and we really need to gain a better understanding of what's going on with that other 95%. And, again, that's why only, science shows that only 8% of people achieve their goals, New Year's resolutions. And that's because, again, we're working against that 95% that's under the surface.
Yep. And so what was it about RTT that really stood out for you? Because you were doing life coaching, you've done business coaching. And so what was it that was really calling you about this practice? And how did you give yourself permission to go down this path?
So I realized, just through my studies over the years, since Scott had what we call his breakdown to breakthrough, I just, I really realized that the subconscious is the key. And I, quickly learned, I've studied with, Bruce Lipton, Dr. Joe Dispenza. I just really realized that we have to gain access to the subconscious, and we have to reprogram it as adults to create change. And RTT, I love that it not only addressed that, but it also gave me the tools to be able to really find out exactly what is going on in a person's subconscious that's keeping them from achieving the result they want. And so, I'd been wanting to, learn Marissa's method for a long time. And I just felt like I just knew it was going to be this amazing tool that I could use to help people. I just feel like, if you can understand that the subconscious is keeping you blocked and you can reprogram it, then you have a key to life. There's no such thing as a magic bullet, but I feel like RTT is very, very close to being that magic bullet. And you have to be ready, though. You have to be ready to do the work, because as you know, Emily, you've got to listen to your recording for 21 days in a row, and you have to be willing to change.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things I wanted to ask you about as well, Emily, is the way that you live your life, because I find it to be so inspirational. So obviously you have the business, you've felt inspired to move in this direction, and now you're helping so many people around the world. But I know one of the decisions that you made a few years ago was to travel the world. Mm-hmm. And there were many places on your bucket list that you got to go and spend time in: Mexico, Europe, and now you're living in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So I know that that's very intriguing to people, how you were able to just pack everything up and live this nomadic, for lack of a better word, life. So can you talk a little bit about that decision and how you guys were able to create that?
Yeah. So I really embrace the truth that our lives are finite. There is an expiration date. And I've always been this person who I just throw myself into whatever challenge, if there's something, if I have a desire and I want something, I just literally hurl myself into it. And I'm like, all right, I can either sink or swim. And, I know Marie Forleo always preaches this, but everything is figure outable. And so if I can encourage anyone who is listening to this to just, if you have a desire, don't think about it. Just do it. Just throw yourself into it. Take the first step, and I guarantee the path will appear. Will it be easy once you take that first step? Probably not. But sometimes, it will be effortless because you are following your heart. But you just have to give yourself permission to do it, because life it's meant to be messy. It's not meant to be perfect. And I had a really deep desire, both my husband and I had a really deep desire to see the world, to experience. For us, that would give us the opportunity, we felt like, to experience life more fully. Because when you travel, you really get to see the world through other people's eyes. And you really quickly realize that we are all so interconnected. Like everywhere I go, it's like, people, they wake up, they go to their jobs, whatever their livelihood is, they, gather with their friends and family, they, laugh, they struggle, they love, they go through the same fears that you go through. And so you need to listen to those desires. And I know that you're in good company, because I know Emily always teaches this. But I don't want anyone to limit themselves because they think that something may not be possible. And then that's where you need to go into the subconscious and figure out, like, okay, I really want to achieve this, but what is it? What is holding me back from doing this? Because chances are there was a singular moment or several moments, usually during your childhood. It can also happen later in life where you didn't feel like you were enough. And so I want to debunk that and let you know that you're more than enough, that you are, you're this amazing, powerful spirit in human form, and you're capable of anything. But it's just, how can you get over these beliefs that hold you back and just go for it?
So beautiful. Yeah. And I love the way that you live your life and your energy. And we've been blessed to be able to meet in Colorado and Paris and California and Italy. And just seeing you and Scott, show up in Italy on that one trip with, like, I don't know, one small bag each. Yeah. And you traveled for months with the same outfits, the same stuff. And it just blows my mind how you were able to do this and just give yourself permission to live in a way that, simple is not the right word, because you live an abundant life and you follow your heart, but just that one suitcase thing just blows my mind, Emily.
Yeah, we don't need as much as we think we need. And you're right, like freedom and joy and happiness is between our ears. And so if you can create this joy, this happiness, this inner freedom, then the world will just fall at your feet, and you can do and be and have anything that you want. And yeah, and I want that for everyone. I want everyone to realize that, freedom is your birthright. it's your natural state, but it's, again, all these thoughts and beliefs that shrink us, that, kind of put this, really tightly wound cocoon around us. And so please, 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 create time for yourselves to reflect, to contemplate life's bigger questions, to really, sit down and discover what it is you truly want for your life, because it's available to you and it always has been. And I know Emily preaches this all the time, but, you have your desires for a reason. They're meant to be realized. And you're not doing anyone any good, especially not yourself, if you're keeping those desires within you and not going out and living them.
Totally. And at this point in the conversation, Emily, I want you to answer one question for us. It's something we ask all of our amazing guests on the show. So what is one way you believe people can create a life that's better than their dreams?
So, I really believe in being flexible in life so that you don't miss out on opportunities. So important to be open to experiences of life and to kind of let go of your rigid thinking and beliefs about how life should be, and kind of giving into life the way you see it in your third eye, your imagination. And, if you can just place more, attention on the present moment, that's where all the magic happens. And so, you've already lived in the past. And if you are not living in the present moment, you're placing that past on your future, and you're really missing out on an opportunity to let new information in, new experiences in, that will really shape you into a fuller expression of yourself.
Beautiful. And where can people find you in the online space, Emily?
Yeah, so you can head over to my website. It's EmilyRoseSummersett.com. Summer like the season, and 2 T's on the set. And then if you want to visit me on Facebook, I'm over there as well. Reach out to me, friend me. I'll be happy to friend you. But that's just a great way for us to connect and for you to get to kind of get to know me better. And then obviously I can get to know you better as well.
And I just want to point out that one of the greatest blessings in my life has been meeting women like you around the world through starting an online business, through following my passion and my desires. And at the time that we're recording this, our husbands are actually going on a camping trip together next week. And so nice. So I wanted to point out for everyone listening, one of the amazing benefits of going for your dreams is meeting like-minded individuals like Emily and the other friends that I've met through starting a business and being a part of group programs. And so I just want to encourage everyone, as a bit of a sidebar, to find your community, find your tribe. And oftentimes that happens through you following your dreams and putting yourself out there in a way that may be different to what your family has done over the years or what your friends are doing. But your heart really knows where you're meant to be going and the steps that you're meant to take. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your time, Emily. We're so grateful for you, and I'm grateful for you for many different reasons and in many ways. So I appreciate you sharing RTT with all of us. I know that it's probably something people haven't actually heard much about. So I hope everyone goes to your website and checks it out and books a session. I love that you're doing these one-off sessions with people. And then obviously if they want more, they can sign up for more. But even just that first session is super transformational. So everyone head to Emily's website after this episode.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. I hope you loved today's episode. Remember how important it is to transform your mindset when you're creating success. I want you to start to take some action towards that, whatever it is for you, whether it's purchasing one of our courses, joining our membership, getting into our Facebook group. Go to iheartmylife.com to learn more about your options. This is truly essential work. And as Emily said, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to have freedom. You deserve to experience joy. Now is your time to take action. And I'll look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you for listening to the I Heart My Life show. For more inspiration, success tips, and ways to achieve your life and business goals, definitely follow me on Facebook and Instagram on I Heart My Life Now. See you next time.